Welcome to the Do It Anyway podcast. I am your host, Maria Redman, here to take you down this crazy path of all things fitness, wellness, nutrition, and everything in between. Welcome to this week's episode 32. I am just crazy in the mind of how many episodes I have because when I started this project, I'll be honest, I thought maybe I'd do like 3 or 4 and be like, I really don't think I want to do this, and I would move on. So to know that I'm on episode 32 is really big deal for me. And to know that I've got 605 of you following and watching is really, really special to me. I mean, I know that that's just a drop in the bucket compared to other YouTube channels, but for me, it's a big deal. And so I wanted to extend my great appreciation to all of you that have been following along and watching and being support of my channel and my information. I really, really, truly appreciate you so very, very much. So I wanted to say thank you. If you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a safe space where I talk about all the crazy stuff. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. And you can also catch the podcast on Spotify or Applecast if you want to catch episodes where you don't really want to watch. So with that, it is 2025. I know you guys are all involved in your New Year's resolutions. It's what we're exactly 2 weeks in today. And I am sure there are quite a few of you out there that are already on the struggle bus. And let me just say, if you are already on the struggle bus, it's okay. Give yourself some grace. The journey to fitness and wellness and being in shape is a very long and tedious journey. It's not a sprint. It is a lifelong marathon that honestly I have come to really find and understand it does not have a finish line. And I think that that's something that needs to be said because everyone is on this journey to try to get in shape and get there. And then you don't realize once you get to what you really like, the maintenance portion of it is something serious. It is not for the faint of heart. So just remember that this is a journey. There's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, but learn to look for every positive moment in that journey and enjoy the present. Don't keep saying, I can't wait until I get to X, because you will miss all of the things that happened that was beautiful in the midst of the journey if you just keep waiting for the next thing. So take your time, give yourself grace. Tomorrow's a new day. Start your plan. And with that, what I want to talk to you guys today about is the top tips to lose fat and keep it off in 2025. My channel is really about trying to break information down to its simplest form. I think that there is so much information out there now on nutrition and diets and workouts that you can get analysis paralysis because there's just so much. I mean, even as a person in this space, I listen to things and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how did I even make it here? Because there's just so much. But then I have to remember when I got into fitness and my own weight loss journey, no one was really doing YouTube like that. So I wasn't inundated with all this information. What I had was hard work. I knew that I had to have hard work and consistency. And so that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. The top tips to lose fat and keep it off this year and really start your journey off right in the most simplest forms. So the first thing that you want to do, first tip that I have for you is prioritize a sustainable lifestyle. What do I mean by this? Crash diets and calorie deficits that are too extreme, they may lead to quick results, but I'm telling you right now, you have burnout. You typically burn out very quickly. You gain the weight back plus some. It creates crazy fatigue, horrible cravings along the way that end up sometimes for some becoming eating disorders. And eventually, like I said, you're going to rebound and gain that weight. And the way that fat cells work is you only shrink them. They don't really leave your body unless you get them lipoed out. So you shrink fat cells. And fat cells are designed that when they get plumped back up, they double in size and split off. That's how fat cells are designed, because in all honesty, we are designed to have certain amounts of body fat. And so when we dip below the levels, the body says, oh, we didn't like that. Fat cells say, we didn't like that. And as soon as you replenish them with some food, they double in size. That is why you can go on a crazy diet for 12 weeks for, let's say, a vacation or a wedding trip or whatever. And then you're at said location now, you hit your goal, and you relax and you eat, because after all, that was the whole purpose, to lose some weight so you can look good, but so you can also eat some food. And when you come back, you've gained like 15 pounds in a week. Well, fat cells absorbed all of it because it went through a whole phase of what it thought was starvation. And now it's the body's way of saying, oh, we've got food, let's save it in case they try to starve us again. So that's why that happens. And that's in its simplest form without getting too scientific on you. But so crash dieting and all that stuff doesn't work. But what does work is creating sustainable habits. And so what does that mean? When you first start your journey, don't try to clean everything up. Some of you guys are going on juice fasts and half day fasting and, no more white bread and all the things, right? We've all heard everyone say all the things. I'm avoiding sugar for 30 days. I mean, all the things. I think it's all too much. You've got a toolbox. You want to start with as many tools in your toolbox as possible. Pull one thing out first. You'll get a result if you just pull one thing out. So let's say you're a person and sodas are your fixation, or chips, and you have them every day, several times a day. So maybe when you're starting your plan, you say something to the effect of, okay, for these first 2 weeks, I'm going to take 2 days and take the drinks or the chips out of just 2 days. You will be surprised how much your body will change if you decrease just that little bit to start. Because just doing that gives your body a new, like, oh my gosh, it's less calories going in for sure. Excuse me. But also, at the same token, your brain is like, okay, we can handle this. It doesn't go crazy thinking, oh my God, what happened to all our drinks? What happened to our chips? They disappeared. When then the cravings come in, and then you want to eat your cabinets. So start off small. Do not start off so big. I think people just do way too much too soon. It's not necessary. So start with that. The next thing that you want to do, even if your nutrition is not as clean as the, fitness space likes to call it. I don't know why we say clean food, because it's not like we're washing our food. I'm not sure why we came up with that, but let's just change it to more nutritious foods. So when you first start, even if your foods are not as nutritious, still measure and meal prep them in advance, right? Maybe you have 5 meals a day. Maybe you're going to make 2 of the meals more nutritious and 3 of what you would normally eat. But now, instead of just plopping it on the plate in copious amounts, we're going to actually measure it out and design our macros so it fits in our macros. That's what we're going to do. And you're going to run that with the less sugary drinks or the chips or whatever your vice is that you're taking out for the 2 days. That's going to be your plan to start with for the first 4 to 6 weeks. Because you know what is going to happen at 4 to 6 weeks? You're going to lose some weight for sure. You're going to lose some body. Well, you're going to lose some weight. Most of it's going to be water retention that you're going to lose. When you see people lose like 10 pounds in a week, most of it's water. You will lose some body fat. So maybe 2 to 3 pounds in that month, which is very, very healthy, normal weight. And because of that, now you're going to be more motivated to maybe start to do some exercise activity with that, right? So start small to where your brain doesn't feel like you took everything away and it's going crazy. So that's what a sustainable lifestyle is. So start with that. Next thing. So now you've got your meals ready. Your week is set up. When you go to sit down to eat, stop scarfing your food down. I watch people do this all the time. Even when they have enough time to eat their lunch, they are just plowing through it. Stop. Take your time. Enjoy your food. I really love to eat because I take my time to eat my food, even if I am eating in my car, because my days sometimes are so busy. I bring my food with me and I eat a lot of my meals in my car, but I am driving pretty far distances at times and I'm taking my time and eating it and I'm enjoying it. And sometimes I'll pull over at a park and sit and eat it and I'll read while I'm eating. So I am not scarfing down my food. So it's also much better for your digestion if you do this. So take your time, really enjoy the food. You will be so amazed how much more full you'll feel sooner than you thought you were going to be. If you just take your time, eat your food, drink whatever your drink is. Hopefully it's water or some type of a, better beverage. So do that. Mindful eating. Next thing, so now you've got your food all prepped, you're taking your time and you're eating, results are starting to happen. You might not get that exact result that you want. So here's the next thing I want you to focus on. Perfection is not a thing. You want to focus on progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. Nothing is ever perfect. You will rarely have a perfect day. I map out my entire day and my meals for days, and I can tell you that about everything goes to plan about 85% of the time, sometimes 80. And I have to make different, on the spur of the moment decisions. But I'm prepared for those decisions as well. But still, there's nothing ever perfect. So don't focus on perfection. Just focus on the progress. How consistently did you get your meals in today? How consistently did you stay hydrated today? Those are the things that you need to focus on. And that will help you build a very sustainable lifestyle that will not have you going crazy each and every day like crash diets will, or all the fad diets, because any of the diets, which I've tried almost all of them, at some point you reach a breaking point where you want things. If it's keto or carnivore, at some point you're going to want some bread. If it's maybe paleo, you're going to be like, oh, if you like cheese, you want cheese. I mean, there's all kind of things. So just don't do any fad dieting. Set up some macros. I've told you this in a previous podcast, 40% protein, 30% fat, 30% carbohydrates. And that's how you can set your macros up with whatever your calories are that you're picking. Measure and weigh out your food, and then you're going to be set. And that's how you just set the table for the sustainable lifestyle. There really isn't any more science to it than that. I mean, people are going to make it sound fancy. All of the other coaches and nutrition gurus are going to say, you got to do this. I'm telling you, unless you have some type of a autoimmune disorder or thyroid disorder, your body's perfectly fine. And this setup will work quite well for you. You're not devoid of any foods, and you should start to get some results in losing fat. So that's tip number 1, create a sustainable lifestyle. Number 2, I just touched on this just a little bit. Balance your macros. 40, 30, 30. This was the original macro-based setup before all the other things started coming into play with the other diet protocols that are out there. 40, 30, 30 allows you to have all 3 macronutrients. It also allows your body better ability to get all the the smaller micronutrients that it needs to survive. And it's actually the natural way that our bodies are intended to work. There was a period of time where, and I still think a little bit, it's not as much as it used to be, like in the, mid to early, I should say, to mid 2000s, where carbohydrates were like just demonized. I think that's starting to go away quite a bit, which I'm happy to see. I will fully admit that when I first was on my weight loss journey, I started off with ketogenic dieting, and it was phenomenal. And I, steered a lot of my clients into that same vein. But I will tell you that though very successful, and though those clients, I still have a lot of them today, are in very, very good shape, I have pivoted them away from ketogenic dieting because I've also noticed the trend that we need all 3 macros, barring your body can metabolize all of them. So having a balanced macro plan is going to be good for you. Track your intake every day. Once you figure out your macros, track it. I know people do not like to track. Some people like to intuitively eat, but if you want to get in shape and you have fat to lose, intuitive eating is not going to work for you because you have no idea how much calories you're putting in if you don't track. And the whole key to fat loss is creating a caloric deficit. So you're going to have to track. Use a fitness app. My daughter, Sarah, and I, my oldest daughter, we have created a new fitness journal that is actually coming to market very soon. So I'm really excited about that. Those will be available for purchase. It's pretty extensive for those of us that still like to write pen to paper, which I also think is a bit better than apps. I like apps, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, there's something a bit more cathartic about writing out what you've eaten, especially when you didn't follow your plan. So tracking your intake is going to be critical to do. Once you start really getting into the process, you're consistent, you've got your lifestyle going. Now you want to start using quality sources of meats, vegetables, fruits. You want to start getting higher qualities if you can afford it, right? You want to get better qualities because you eat every day. That's the one consistent thing. So you don't want to, our food quality, unfortunately, especially here in America, has changed drastically. I mean, compared to other countries, our food quality is really in the garbage. So if you can afford to get higher quality meats and produce, go ahead and start doing that. And that also does make a difference because pesticides can inhibit your hormone production, which can mess with your thyroid, which it's a whole tangled web. So better quality sources there. And then the next thing that you want to do, learn how to have portion control. Again, this goes with the tracking. Figure out those macros, portion control, portion control, portion control. This is critical. I mean, I don't think I can say it enough. Knowing exactly what you're putting in your mouth every single day, if you're really serious about your fat loss journey, is going to be critical. So start making out the portions, learning what they really are. When you're putting them inside of your Tupperware, your plate, whatever you're doing, look at them so you can really understand exactly what that amount looks like and reconcile that in your brain. So that's going to be key. Next is a pro tip. In all of this, find activities that you actually really like to do. If you don't like to be on the treadmill, maybe don't get on the treadmill. Maybe go find a class to be in a group of people with to make the whole rest of this process feel a whole lot better. Because once you've started the lifestyle and you've gotten into the meal prep planning portion, you've got that down, next you're going to have to get into some activity level. And if you're miserable doing that, well, now you're going to have some problems. So we'll talk about the workouts later on, but I just wanted to go and mention that as a little pro tip. Also, when you exercise, it kind of curbs your hunger a little bit if you exercise hard enough. So if you're going to do it again, make sure it's something you really love so you can go hard in the paint, because when you finish, you feel so accomplished. You're less likely to go eat something bad because you're like, man, I just did that. Like I crushed it. I'm so excited that I crushed it. Now you don't want to go and get whatever it was you used to eat later in the day. You want to get to your healthier food because you realize that I felt good enough to do that, and I want to be able to repeat that performance a day or two later. So that's there. Now, I'm going to go over some more steps in part 2 of our next episode. So stay tuned, and I'm going to come back with a few more tips. Peace.